Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about Logan Brown in a way TLC never dared, Cody never allowed, and the Brown family still refuses to acknowledge. Not the polished, college-bound, quiet oldest son they tried to package for the cameras. Not the polite young adult who faded into the background, got a corporate job, married Michelle, and disappeared from the storyline like a ghost escaping a haunted house.
No.
We're talking about the Logan behind the curtain. The Logan who grew up under a system, under expectations, under a spiritual burden so heavy that most adults would have broken long before adulthood. And the truth is brutal. Logan Brown did not simply grow up. Logan Brown escaped. This isn't a coming-of-age story. This is a deprogramming, a survival arc. The untold story of the crown prince who walked away from the kingdom he was bred to inherit. Today, we're going to uncover the footage, the moments, the cracks, the breaking points that reveal how the firstborn son of a polygamist dynasty stopped being Cody's chosen successor and became the man who now wants nothing to do with his father's religion, legacy, or throne. But before we walk into the shadows of the AUB and the secrets TLC never aired, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss the next episode, especially our upcoming deep dive into Logan Brown's financial implosion and the secret debts that shattered the family from the inside. Now, let's begin. The Crown Prince theory. To understand the earthquake Logan caused in Cody's world, you have to understand something that TLC sugarcoated from day one. The Browns always presented their faith like it was a quirky lifestyle choice, like veganism but with more kids, moral cleanliness but shared husbands, or a cute cultural tradition. But the Apostolic United Brethren is not quirky. It is not casual. It is not a lifestyle. It is a theology of kingdoms, of dynasties, of divine succession. In the AUB worldview, Cody Brown wasn't just a father. He was a king in training. His wives weren't partners. They were territories in a spiritual empire. And the firstborn son, Logan, wasn't a child. He was the crown prince,
The heir.
the future patriarch, the man expected to take multiple wives, continue the priesthood line, and cement Cody's legacy as a god in embryo. When Cody looked at Logan, he didn't see a boy. He saw his own immortality. The child who raised the children rewatched the early seasons. Logan isn't the normal teenager. He's not playing video games, chasing hobbies, or living teenage dreams. He's cooking breakfast for 18 children at 5 a.m. He's doing homework on the couch while wrangling toddlers. He's absorbing adult responsibilities Cody never lifted a finger for. Psychologists who have examined this footage say Logan displays the 1,000-yard stare, the look of a kid living in constant cortisol, constant hypervigilance, constant pressure. Every bowl of scrambled eggs, every diaper change, every chore. It wasn't helping the family. It was grooming, a long, quiet, relentless conditioning process preparing him to inherit the priesthood mantle Cody believed was his divine right to pass down. But then something happened, and that's when Logan snapped. The break that no one saw coming. The move to Las Vegas wasn't just a cross-country relocation. It was the earthquake that shattered Logan's worldview. In Lehigh, Logan lived inside a bubble. Every neighbor, teacher, authority figure, all AUB. All aligned with Cody's spiritual fantasy. Cody was respected, feared, even admired. But then came the sirens, the investigation, the panic, the sudden flight from Utah, the fear that Cody's divinely commanded lifestyle was about to send him to prison. For the younger kids, Vegas was scary. For Logan, brilliant, perceptive, on the edge of adulthood, it was something else. The mask fell off. He saw Cody not as a prophet, not as a spiritual hero, not as a man ordained by God, but as someone paranoid, chaotic, running. And the most dangerous thing happened. Logan entered the real world. Public school. Non-Mormon friends. People who weren't polygamists and yet were happy. That is the forbidden knowledge. The poison the AUB fears most. Because once you realize the outside world isn't evil, you can never go back. The secret rebellion, there's a moment. You can see it if you rewatch the Vegas era closely, where Logan changes. His shoulders drop. His smile becomes cautious around Cody. He answers questions with diplomacy instead of devotion. This is the beginning of the private war. Insiders believe this was the period where Logan started questioning everything: the priesthood, the patriarchy, his role as crown prince, the moral authority of his father, the entire AUB worldview. Cody felt it. He sensed it. He panicked. Because if the firstborn son rejects the kingdom, the dynasty dies. And that is Cody Brown's greatest nightmare. Buckle up, because what we're about to unravel isn't just family drama. It's psychological warfare, spiritual indoctrination, and the collapse of Cody Brown's entire identity. Let's get into it. The moment the narcissist lost his grip, narcissists have a sixth sense. A radar. A primal alarm that goes off the second their control begins to slip. And Cody Brown? He felt Logan slipping long before the audience ever noticed. Psychologists have a term for what Logan lived through: parentification, a form of neglect so profound it reassigns a child into an adult's body. But Logan's case wasn't normal parentification. This wasn't a kid doing chores or helping out. This was the weaponized, spiritualized version, wrapped in scripture and sold as God's will. Logan wasn't just told to help. He was told it was holy, that sacrificing his childhood, his sleep, his sanity, was a divine calling. That God smiled every time he replaced Cody's responsibilities. Imagine carrying that at 14, 15, 16. And then imagine the moment, the exact shattering second, when he sat in a Psychology 101 classroom in college, opened a textbook, and saw the word parentification. He reads the symptoms, the emotional consequences, the long-term damage. And then it hits him like a freight train. Oh my God, that's me. That realization doesn't just hurt. It rewrites your entire life. You go from, I am a good, righteous son, to, I was a victim of religiously sanctioned exploitation. And that is the moment Logan Brown began to break free. The real reason Cody unraveled. People love to blame Christine's departure, or COVID, or Robin. But look at the timeline. Look closer. Follow the cracks. Cody Brown didn't fall apart because his wives left. He fell apart because his crown prince defected. Fundamentalist Mormon men believe their priesthood is validated by their children's obedience. If your firstborn son rejects your faith, you've failed God. You've failed your legacy. You've failed your destiny. When Logan walked away spiritually, Cody lost his mind. The manosphere rants, the red pill rage, the violent entitlement, the bitterness, the spiraling logic in Flagstaff. It all begins the moment Logan stepped into secular life and said, silently but boldly, your religion is a lie, and I am happier without it. Nothing cuts a narcissist deeper than watching their creation outgrow them. And Logan didn't just outgrow Cody. He exposed him. The Michelle factor. The breaker of chains. Let's talk about Michelle. People underestimate her. They see her as the sweet girlfriend, the supportive wife. But narratively, symbolically, Michelle is the liberator, the breaker of chains. Logan didn't meet another polygamist girl who saw him as breeding stock. He didn't meet a woman who viewed him as a future patriarch or a priesthood heir. He met someone normal, someone kind, someone who saw him not as Cody's successor, but simply as Logan. For the first time in his life, he was loved for nothing he did. No chores, no aches, no leadership, no priesthood potential, just him. That is the antidote to indoctrination. That is the death sentence to every cult. Cults operate on conditional love. You are loved if you obey. You are loved if you don't question. You are loved if you stay loyal. Michelle offered unconditional love. And that is how Logan finally walked out of the cage. The secret anger, there are strong insider rumors, and the footage backs it, that Logan went through a phase of deep, volcanic anger toward Cody during his deconstruction. You can see flashes of it on camera. Logan. No, Dad. I'm staying in the dorms. That wasn't about housing. That was a fortress. A barrier. A psychological wall built to keep Cody's chaos out of his brain. The polite tone masks it, but the message is clear. You no longer get to shape me. The financial betrayal. Now we enter the part TLC never wanted viewers to understand. Logan saw the books. He saw the holes, the lies, the mismanagement, the spending sprees, the empty accounts, the way Janelle worked herself into the ground while Robin racked up bills like a royal. He saw his mother financially suffocating under Cody's fantasies. That changes a son. That creates a different kind of trauma, the kind that breeds protective rage. When Logan left home, he didn't just walk away spiritually. He walked away financially. He built a life where he would never need Cody's money. A life where he could protect Michelle and future children from the empire he escaped. That's why he's disciplined. That's why he's structured. That's why he runs from chaos like it's on fire. He is running from Cody. The tattoo, a declaration of war in the outside world. A tattoo is nothing. But in the AUB, in fundamentalist Mormonism, it is a desecration of the temple, a mark of rebellion, a message carved into the skin that says, I am not yours anymore. When Logan inked his body, visibly, publicly, he wasn't making a fashion choice. He was delivering a message straight to his father's throne. Your chosen heir has defected. I reject the priesthood. I reject the dynasty. I reject the identity you forced on me. This wasn't a tattoo. It was a declaration of independence. It wasn't just ink. It wasn't just art. It was a declaration of independence. That tattoo on Logan Brown's skin was a permanent, physical billboard that screamed, I do not belong to you anymore. And that right there is the moment Cody Brown's entire mythology cracked. Because unlike a rebellious haircut or a sarcastic comment, a tattoo cannot be scrubbed off. Cody couldn't lecture it away. He couldn't guilt it away. He couldn't pray it off his son's skin. That ink was a sword, sharp, undeniable, carved into the body of the boy he once believed would inherit his priesthood throne. Every time Cody sees that tattoo, he sees his authority evaporating. He sees his celestial kingdom dissolving grain by grain. He sees the son he raised to be a prophet openly, publicly rejecting the religion Cody worships more than his own children. And the alcohol? To normal people, it's a beer at a festival. To the Brown family, it's an act of theological treason. Every photo of Logan holding a drink is a political manifesto. It's a coded message to his younger brothers, Peyton, Garrison, Gabriel, quietly declaring, the rules are fake. The punishments are fake. The fear was the cage, not the world outside of it. Logan wasn't just the eldest son. He was the icebreaker ship. He smashed through the frozen wall of indoctrination so his brothers could follow the path he carved through the water. His rebellion was not loud. It wasn't public. It was quiet, strategic, and devastatingly effective. And here is the part Cody desperately doesn't want the world to understand. The family estrangement is not emotional. It is not relational. It is theological. Cody tries to spin it as disrespect, disobedience, loyalty to their mothers, but the truth is so much deeper, so much darker. Logan represents the death of Cody's theology. If faith is supposed to produce joy, purpose, unity, then why did the smartest, kindest, most responsible of Cody's children run from the faith as if his life depended on it? Cody cannot answer that question without confronting his greatest fear. What if the faith didn't fail Logan? What if Cody did? This is why Cody never speaks Logan's name anymore. Have you noticed it? Cody will rant for hours about Gabriel. He will obsess over Garrison. He will rage about Peyton. But Logan? Silence. A cold, distant, defeated silence. That is the silence of a man who knows he lost the one son who could see through him. And the rest of the boys saw it too. They saw Logan step into the real world. They saw him succeed. They saw him happy. Not guilty. Not cursed. Not punished by God. Happy. And compared to that, what was Cody offering them? Rage. Chaos. Patriarchy speeches. Fear-mongering. Finger-pointing. And, eventually, total collapse. Logan became living proof that the outside world wasn't a fiery pit of sin. He proved the world outside of polygamy wasn't where you lose your soul. It's where you finally find it. But that doesn't mean the transformation was painless. Religious trauma doesn't disappear just because you walk out the door. RTS, religious trauma syndrome, is a real psychological wound. Imagine Logan, every time he skipped church, every time he drank coffee, every time he opened a beer, feeling that old childhood voice screaming in his head. Danger.
Sin. Punishment.
He had to fight the ghost of Cody Brown living inside his mind. And the fact that he not only fought it, but defeated it while graduating college, building a career, and building a marriage? That makes Logan the strongest man in the entire Brown family. Because Cody thinks strength is shouting. Strength is demanding respect. Strength is pounding his chest and quoting scripture. But Logan proved that real strength is quieter, more patient, more disciplined. Strength is silent evolution. And then there was the wedding. The wedding that TLC didn't show us. The wedding we only heard whispers about. Logan and Michelle's wedding wasn't just a celebration. It was a revolution. It was private. It was elegant. It was secular. It was joyful.
No celestial planets. No patriarchal blessings. No eternal polygamy speeches.
Just love. Just vows. Just two adults beginning a life built on choice, not doctrine. And for the first time in his life, Cody Brown was not the man with the microphone. He wasn't the priesthood holder. He wasn't the officiant. He wasn't the patriarch. He was just a guy in a suit.
A guest.
Watching the son he believed he would rule eternity with, choose a life Cody could never control. A life Cody wasn't invited to lead. In Cody's theology, Logan's wedding meant only one thing. He believed his son was lost to him forever, even in the afterlife. And Logan was standing beside Michelle, realizing that he had done something no Brown man before him had ever done. He broke the generational curse. And then comes the darkest layer. Logan was supposed to be Cody too. Zero, charming, narcissistic, validation obsessed. A future patriarch with multiple wives and endless responsibilities. Instead, he chose therapy, monogamy, boundaries, privacy. A life he built, not a life Cody assigned. Even the show itself was part of his trauma. Imagine going through puberty, spiritual confusion, and identity crises with a camera shoved in your face, producers telling you who to be, how to act, how to stand. Logan wasn't a character on the show.
He was a product of it.
Leaving the cameras wasn't just about privacy. It was about reclaiming his identity from a father who wanted him to stay a prop forever. And then there's Robin. Insiders whisper that Logan saw through her before anyone else did. He watched his father shower Robin's kids with attention and resources, attention Logan himself never received. He saw the tears. He saw the manipulation.
He saw the imbalance.
But unlike Garrison, who got angry, or Gabe, who got heartbroken, or Peyton, who got loud, Logan got strategic. He realized the truth. You cannot beat a narcissist in their own kingdom. The only way to win is to leave the kingdom entirely. So Logan didn't fight. He didn't argue. He didn't scream. He just left. And in doing so, he became the first Brown child to reclaim his life. Not in anger. Not in rebellion. Not in chaos. But in quiet liberation. This, right here, is the textbook signature of religious trauma. You grow up being told that the rules are divine, unbreakable, eternal, and then one day, the mask slips. You notice the authority figure breaking every rule they demand you obey, and something inside you cracks. For Logan Brown, that moment wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a fight, a blow-up, or a meltdown. It was a snap, silent, internal, irreversible. Maybe it happened in one of those living room purity lectures, sitting shoulder to shoulder with his siblings while Cody stood there, the self-appointed prophet of the household, preaching self-control, while he himself was courting, flirting, and spiritually juggling wives like accessories in a reality show. And in that moment, Logan's brain whispered the most dangerous thought a child of high-demand religion can ever think. You have no moral authority over me. And that's where the real break began. The lost boy who chose to walk away in most polygamous groups. Lost boys are the teenagers they discard, literally kicked into the world so the older men have less competition for wives. But Logan wasn't kicked out. Logan was the prize. He was the son they wanted to keep, the one they showcased, the poster child of the Brown family, the future priesthood holder, the golden boy destined to continue the lineage. And that's exactly why his departure hit harder than any rebellion, any lawsuit, any collapsed marriage. Because when the best and brightest walks away voluntarily, he doesn't just leave the religion.
He invalidates it.
Logan became what no fundamentalist group can survive, a lost boy by choice. A young man who looked at the map of his father's kingdom, saw the edges, and stepped off anyway. The Janelle connection, and the reason Logan escaped. People often assume Logan left because he's like Janelle.
No.
He left because he had what Janelle never had. Janelle is logical, stoic, grounded. Logan inherited her intelligence, her practicality, but Janelle stayed for decades.
Why?
Because when she was young, the religion was her choice. To her, it was an answer.
A path.
A spiritual solution. But Logan was born into it, branded with it, forced to breathe it. For Janelle, the faith was hope. For Logan, the faith was a cage. He watched his mother struggle financially. He watched her fight for crumbs of time and affection. He watched her live a life of principle that brought her nothing but exhaustion. Logan didn't want that story. He didn't want to repeat the generational script. And so he didn't. Logan, the Moses of the family, the producers of Sister Wives, made a catastrophic miscalculation. They thought the show's drama was between the wives. But the real tragedy was happening in the background, the slow, quiet exodus of the children. And Logan was Moses. But instead of leading his siblings to the promised land of plural marriage, he led them to the promised land of normalcy. A bank account that belonged to you. A marriage without competition. A home without chaos. A Christmas without cameras. A life without Cody's mood swings dictating the weather. Logan showed his siblings that freedom wasn't scary. It wasn't sinful. It wasn't a curse. It was life. The intellectual break. The point of no return. People don't walk away from high-demand religions because they want to drink coffee or have a beer at a wedding. They walk away because the foundation collapses. And there is strong reason to believe that Logan did his research, that he read the history his father avoided, that he dug into the blood atonement past, the fundamentalist abuses, the contradictions Cody refused to acknowledge. And once you see the cracks, once you understand the history, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow it. And no amount of guilt, tears, or lectures can drag you back across that line. You can emotionally guilt a person, but you cannot guilt them into forgetting the truth. The protector's silence, the most powerful weapon. Logan never gives interviews. He never appears on podcasts. He never trashes his family publicly.
Why?
Because he is still the protector. He knows that one explosive interview would shatter whatever fragile emotional stability remains for the younger kids. Truly, Solomon Ariella. Logan could become a bestseller overnight if he wrote a tell-all. But he won't. Because he is done. He doesn't need fame. He doesn't need validation. He doesn't need revenge. And that, right there, is what destroys Cody the most. A narcissist can survive hatred. They can survive rebellion. But they cannot survive your indifference. And Logan is beautifully, completely indifferent. ACT 3. The heretic. All right. We are stepping straight into the fire. If Act 1 was burden, Act 2 was awakening, then Act 3 is the Declaration of Independence. And that declaration wasn't signed with a pen. It was signed with a seating chart. Because Logan Brown and Michelle Petty's wedding was not just a wedding. It was the most defiant act in Brown family history. A secular venue. No priesthood authority.
No celestial rituals.
No covenant language. For a fundamentalist father who believes his son is a prince of the priesthood, this was the first dagger. And, trust me, the wedding only gets darker, deeper, and more symbolic from here. Let's dive straight into the part of the story where the mask truly cracked, not on Logan's face, but on Cody Brown's. This is where the real story begins, not in the flowers or the fairy lights of the wedding, but in the ceremony itself. The moment where everything Cody ever believed about his own power, his own priesthood, and his own place in the universe dissolved right in front of him. Insider whispers say that in the weeks leading up to the wedding, a storm was brewing behind the scenes. Because here's the thing about Cody Brown. He doesn't just attend events, he dominates them. He needs to be the sun in every room, the voice everyone hears, the man everyone looks to for validation, direction, and spiritual authority. But on Logan's wedding day, Cody wasn't the sun. He wasn't even a spark. He was nothing. He wasn't asked to officiate. He wasn't asked to bless the couple. He wasn't even placed in a symbolic father of the groom position. He was downgraded, brutally, to just another guest. Guest number 47, according to one insider. Imagine the narcissistic injury. Imagine the internal earthquake. Cody Brown, the self-declared patriarch, the self-appointed king of the Brown Empire, forced to sit silently in a folding chair while another man, a secular officiant, led his firstborn son into marriage without any mention of the covenant, the priesthood, or celestial authority. To Cody, those vows might as well have been a funeral service. Because in his theology, a marriage without sealing isn't a marriage, it's a countdown clock to eternal separation. He sat there, surrounded by laughter and candlelight, watching his eternal dynasty collapse in real time. And then came the part that truly set him on fire. The open bar. We've all seen those photos, Logan holding a drink, smiling, celebrating. But those weren't just party pictures. For the AUB, alcohol isn't a casual choice. It's a direct violation of the word of wisdom, a public no to the religion Cody built his entire identity around. By having an open bar at his own wedding, Logan wasn't just celebrating. He was declaring independence. He was saying, my life. My rules. My happiness. Not yours. People at the venue whispered that Cody looked physically pained the entire night. While Janelle was glowing, dancing, and beaming with pride, Cody lingered in the shadows, stiff, withdrawn, watching his authority evaporate like smoke. Because there was nothing for him to celebrate. This wasn't the wedding of a devoted son. This was the defection of an heir. And then the seating chart, the detail that fans have dissected frame by frame. Logan's table was surrounded by friends, by Michelle's family, by Janelle, by Joy. Cody, meanwhile, was seated with Robin, off to the side, isolated, symbolically and emotionally quarantined. He wasn't at the groom's table. He wasn't at the family center. He wasn't anywhere near the core of Logan's life. He was an island, a distant, dimming star in a galaxy that no longer revolved around him. This wasn't just emotional distance. This was surgical removal. Logan cut out every piece of Cody's influence, gently, quietly, decisively. And for Cody, the damage goes deeper than emotions. It goes into theology. In the AUB belief system, a father's eternal glory depends on his righteous children. If a child leaves the faith, the father is judged. If multiple children leave the faith, the father is condemned as a failed patriarch. So when Cody sees Logan thriving, the new home, the promotions, the stable marriage, the joy, Cody doesn't see success. He sees proof that he was wrong. He sees evidence that every sermon, every lecture, every purity talk was a lie. Because the one child who did everything right, the golden boy, the heir, walked away and built a better life than Cody ever gave him. And Cody knows it. This is why he never publicly attacks Logan the way he attacks Garrison, Gabe, or Payton. Because Logan is dangerous. Logan was there in the dark years. He lived the financial chaos. He saw the neglect. He saw the sacred loneliness the wives lived in. He knows the timeline, the secrets, the contradictions, the reality that TLC never aired. If Cody pushes him, even once, Logan has the credibility to destroy him with a single interview. This is not estrangement. This is a Cold War. A quiet standoff built on mutually assured destruction. And then there's Michelle, the anti-Robin. Robin represents dependence. Michelle represents autonomy. It's easy to imagine a snap as a loud, explosive moment, a slammed door, a raised voice, a breaking point you can hear echoing through the house. But in the Brown family, the real snap didn't come with yelling. It didn't come with a fight. It didn't come with a meltdown on camera. Sometimes a snap is silent. Sometimes it's a 3 a.m. realization, the kind of quiet decision that ends a dynasty without a single word spoken. And that quiet earthquake, we believe, happened during the Flagstaff fiasco, the moment Cody Brown lost the smartest son he ever had. When Cody climbed onto that living room stage with his hyperactive vision board of chaos, maps he didn't understand, graphs he probably printed 5 minutes before filming, and a manic energy that screamed instability, Logan was watching. Maybe he was in the room. Maybe he saw the raw footage later. But when he looked at his father, ranting about uprooting the entire family yet again, he recognized something terrifying. This wasn't leadership. This wasn't destiny. This was a man unraveling. And in that moment, Logan didn't snap from anger. He snapped into clarity. He realized something every eldest child eventually learns. I can't save him. I can only save myself. He likely tried, in his calm, eldest child way, to warn Janelle. He likely tried to pull Gabe and Garrison aside. But he knew the truth. You cannot rescue someone who is committed to drowning. So he cut the rope. The brotherhood Cody couldn't destroy people forget something crucial. Garrison and Gabe didn't just love Logan. Logan raised them. When Cody vanished into the Robin era, enforcing insane COVID rules, forgetting birthdays, treating his sons like rebellious soldiers instead of human beings, who do you think the boys called? Not their father. Never their father. They called Logan. Logan became the long-distance dad Cody refused to be. He offered the emotional safety, the stability, the quiet reassurance that every child needs, and every child was denied by Cody's ego. Cody hates the bond between his sons because that bond is built from the wreckage of his own neglect. Every time the brothers hang out without him, it's not just to get together. It's an act of rebellion. A reminder that the Brown children did not survive because of Cody. They survived in spite of him. The secret blame Cody harbors. Logan ruined Janelle. Here's the dark part, the insider perspective no one wants to say aloud. Cody blames Logan for the divorce. Not Christine. Not Janelle herself. Logan. Think about it. Janelle always chose her kids. Cody always demanded she choose him. And then comes Logan, successful, educated, secular, independent, living a life outside the AUB bubble, proving there is safety and happiness without Cody, without polygamy, without the cult-like rules. Logan didn't poison Janelle. He showed her the truth. And to a man like Cody, who lives in a fantasy where obedience is love and control is affection, that truth felt like betrayal. In Cody's delusion, Logan becomes the serpent in the garden, whispering to Eve, "You don't need Adam anymore." The broken faith of the golden son irony is cruel. Logan was the most devout of all the Brown children. He led the prayers. He memorized the scriptures. He took the doctrine seriously. And that's exactly why he couldn't stay. People who treat religion as decoration can fake faith. People who treat doctrine as performance can twist it. Cody can fake it. Robin can fake it. But Logan has too much integrity to worship something he knows is broken. His exit wasn't rebellion, it was honesty. It was the moment he chose truth over tradition. The legacy of the firstborn fast forward 20 years. When people study the Brown family, they won't focus on the catfish scandal, the jewelry business, or even the show. They'll talk about the experiment, the psychological survival of the Brown kids. And Logan? Logan will be remembered as the case study in resilience. The boy who walked through fire and didn't come out smelling like smoke. The boy who carried the emotional weight of 18 children on his back. The boy who escaped a throne he never asked for. The prince who walked away in the AUB. The Browns were royalty. Logan was the crown prince. He could have stayed. He could have inherited power, status, worship. Instead, he walked away from the throne, choosing to be a common man in the real world, rather than a prince in a cage. That kind of wisdom? Cody Brown will never achieve it. Cody is still chasing the crown, still trying to be the king, while his kingdom has shrunk to one wife and one house. The wedding that broke Cody, here's the most brutal blow. TLC begged Logan to film his wedding. It would have been $1 million special. Guaranteed ratings. Guaranteed money. Logan said no. Not because he hates fame, because he refuses to let Cody perform on his wedding day. Logan banning cameras did something no one else ever could. He forced Cody to be a father, not a character. And Cody hated every second of it. Because, without a camera, Cody isn't a king. He isn't a prophet. He isn't a patriarch. He's just a man.
A very small man.
The final verdict. Logan won. This is the heart of the story. Logan Brown broke the cycle. He absorbed Cody's toxicity for nearly 2 decades, cooking the breakfasts, breaking up the fights, raising the siblings, being the emotional glue. And then he walked away without asking for applause. He is the ghost of the series now, unseen, but felt everywhere. When Janelle stands up for herself, that's Logan. When the boys confront Cody, that's Logan. When the family refuses to bow to the patriarch, that is Logan's legacy. Cody thinks he is the general, but he has no army. The army defected, and they followed Logan. Logan Brown didn't just walk away from a TV show. He ended a generational curse. He saved his future children. He saved his marriage. He saved his soul. He chose freedom, and he won. Cody lost the priesthood not because wives left him, but because his son did. And the silence from Las Vegas? That is the sound of victory.